The bone shaker sarigata Gran Torino.
Ci sarigata.
超了，行好了。以后都快点冒呢。
So I met you. My name's Mitch, and I work at the University of Minnesota, and I've been interested in Hmong film for a few years, and so it's cool, right, to see one that comes at a total different budget, entirely different sort of track than all the Hmong films that we know and that we love and watch all the time, and the ones that, you guys are making. I think that if I put on my non-Hmong hat, I wonder, if this film doesn't do some of the same things that films always do, like they sort of play. What I thought it did well is it played up all the kind of cultural standard images, right? It used those. But what I appreciate about the screenplay is that it balances them all too, right? There's always an opposition, right? There's always a counterpoint to a typical sort of image of a Hmong man, the violent, 20-something gangbanger. There's always a Tao, right? Who offsets that image, right? Working in the garden. And so I thought that was what it made use of the cultural symbols that are there, right? And they may be stereotypes, they may be reductions of actual cultural practice, but you sort of have to engage them. You can't just ignore them or try to play like they aren't there. Or you can't take an approach that's so edgy that no one can relate and no one can have an entry point, especially for the mainstream audience. There has to be entry points to get us sold, to be able to get in and then dig into the nuance of the cultural practice. So I thought that balance was pretty well done. So there's a lot of nuance in the film. I appreciate that. My biggest, the thing that I'm thinking about most tonight is about this tale, this narrative of masculinity. It really plays out. So Clint Eastwood is has a certain kind of masculinity, and the priest, right, has this celibate masculinity. He's such a boy. He's such a boyish face and then red hair. And then Tao has a certain kind of masculinity narrative that he goes through, and the way, at the barbershop he's initiated into this is really fascinating. And then the gang culture is a whole other realm of masculinity. So that's, I think, what the film plays most importantly. I think that's probably the biggest contribution it has to make in the American cultural moment right now, the film sort of moment now. And that's what I think it was to be remembered for. And the last comment I think that I'll make is I thought the delicate balance, right, of spirituality that plays, between the shaman and the priest, and the tension, right, so there again are two counterpoints, so played against each other, and the way that Walt relates to the two sort of cosmologies. And then, like that final scene when he's sorry, these guys didn't see it tonight, so plug your ears, Bob.
Cover your ears here. Just close your eyes.
But the whole moment, like that whole trope of going as the savior, right? Going as the sacrifice. Walt was arranged in a kind of perfect crucifix there. He was laying on the ground. But it wasn't strictly the kind of Catholic Christian narrative. It left room out for other ways to conceive that notion of sacrifice, that notion of tengsana. So that kind of question I think is also there too, and I think played very well. So that's
Thank you. Woo! Well said, Mitch.